Revenge films.
My name is Nancy Williams. I have a husband named Steven and a 5-year-old daughter named Hannah. We're a happy family of 3. My husband was extremely smart. He graduated from a famous university and got a job at a major company. He works really hard and is very put together, and he's always supporting me. I knew that Steven had always dreamed of having his own company one day, and he's been saving up money for that for years. He said it's finally going to be enough money soon, and I see him working hard every day preparing to start his own business. Unlike my husband, though, I had an insecurity about my educational background. I lost my mother to an illness when I was in middle school. I was so devastated by this that I wasn't able to get myself to study for high school entrance exams and ended up not going to high school. Even though I didn't go to high school, I started working part-time at cafes and convenience stores. That was when I learned how fun it was to work hard, and I've worked hard ever since in order to support myself. I met Steven because he was a regular customer at one of the cafes where I was working. He said that he fell in love with how hard-working I was, and that's why he approached me. That was how we met and first began dating. Even though my husband knew that I only graduated from middle school, he never made a face about it. If anything, he was so supportive and said,
"You've been working so hard since you were a teenager. It's really amazing, Nancy. I admire you a lot."
And he would compliment me about it. And to this day, even though we're in our 7th year of marriage, there wasn't a single thing about my husband that I didn't like. However, there was one major thing that was difficult in my marriage, and that wasn't my husband, but it was my mother-in-law and her frequent harassment of me. My mother-in-law was the complete opposite of my husband. She thought the educational background was everything. After she found out that I had only graduated from middle school, every time that I would see her, she would say something awful to me and bully me. "Who do you think you are when you only graduated from middle school and you think you can marry my son that graduated from a major university and is working at a major company?" She would say things like this constantly, and it was a given that she would belittle me. My husband wasn't very fond of his mother in this way, but he had lost his father when he was younger, and because his mother raised him single-handedly, he said he wasn't able to cut off all ties with her because he felt like he needed to get back to her. But knowing that, my mother-in-law would ask for a large amount of money to be sent every single month by my husband, and if she refused, she would put on a sour face and say, "Who do you think raised you for all these years? You have no gratitude." And she would bash my husband. Both my husband and I were not fond of his mother, and we both said that we wanted to avoid her as much as possible, so we did our best not to see her. However, recently she started saying things to us like, "You know, I can look after Hannah every now and then, spend time with my granddaughter. The two of you can go relax together." It was strange to us. My husband would say,
"I know my mother, and I know she's not that kind of a person. That's weird, and there's no way we can do that."
And he was clearly suspicious of her intentions. He also said that he wanted to avoid leaving our daughter alone with his mother at all costs. I thought that was strange, so I asked him if there was a reason behind that, and his face dropped as he reluctantly told me. My husband grew up with only his mother because he lost his father when he was 6 years old, and he said ever since then that he was raised with her hitting him constantly, and the reason behind that was because he wasn't getting good grades. "Maybe if I hit you, you'll learn to use that brain of yours. Oh, you stupid child." She would say things like this, and she would hit him almost every day. Steven said he grew up every day terrified of his mother. Even after he worked extremely hard and his grades became better, he said that nothing changed and that his mother continued to hit him. And as he got older, my husband realized that his mother wasn't hitting him out of discipline. She was just hurting him to use him as her own punching bag. That was when he started disliking his own mother. And he said that to this day, he still held a lot of resentment toward her, and that he held trauma from his childhood. He said he was grateful that even though she was a single mother, she was able to send him through high school and college, but at the same time, he said that he couldn't accept her way of parenting. My husband said he didn't want his mom to see our daughter, and I agreed with him on that. So because of that, just like my husband said, we tried to avoid leaving my mother-in-law alone with our daughter. But then one day, when my husband was out of the house at work, my mother-in-law suddenly showed up at our house. She had never showed up unannounced like this, so I was shocked, and I asked her, "What's the matter? Did something happen?" I opened the door for her, and she said, You don't come visit me, so I decided to come here to see you myself and to see my granddaughter." I could tell it wasn't a good thing, but then my mother-in-law stormed past me and into the house and walked into the living room. When she saw Hannah, who was playing with her toys, she said directly at her, "Oh my goodness, she's gotten so big. And look, I can already tell by looking at her face she must be stupid." She said these shocking words to our daughter. Without thinking, I responded, "That's not true at all. How can you say that?" When I said that, she replied, "Oh, please, because you didn't even go to high school, there's no way that your child would be smart, is there?" And she snickered and laughed. And then she turned to my daughter and tried to make my daughter answer a math equation that should be meant for an elementary school kid. Ma'am, Hannah is only 5 years old. She's not going to be able to answer that when she hasn't learned it. But when I said that, "Are you kidding me? She can't even do an equation this simple? Oh, the poor girl, getting your stupid genes." And once again, she tried to belittle me. I didn't want to take my eyes off my mother-in-law, so I sat next to Hannah the whole time. But then she barked at me. "What are you doing? You don't even know how to pour a cup of tea or bring a single drink to a guest? Oh, you're such a poor wife." And she walked over to me and smacked me on the thigh. When Hannah saw that, she was scared and shaking. She tried to hide behind me, but then, You need to come over here now. Your mom is about to prepare tea, so you need to stay out of her way." She said that and grabbed my daughter by the arm and pulled her. "Please stop that. Don't touch her." "Oh, whatever. You're so dramatic. Just hurry up and go get some tea. You're so lazy and useless. What kind of a wife are you?" And she raised her voice at me. I turned to my daughter and said, "Will you please help me, Hannah?" And I took her into the kitchen with me, and I began preparing the tea. And then my daughter helped me. She carried a tray holding hot tea and snacks over to the living room. But at that moment, my mother-in-law raised her voice and said, "Don't hold it like that. It's dangerous, you useless child." And then she smacked my daughter. When she hit my daughter, she fell over immediately and she slammed her head on the living room table. "What are you doing?" I yelled. I ran over to my daughter, but my mother-in-law said, "This is the kid of a woman who didn't even go to high school. Of course she's going to be stupid. So don't you think it's good that she hit her head? Maybe her stupidness became a little better." And she laughed. My daughter's eyes were spinning and she was still laying on the ground. I picked her up and held her. And when I tried to call an ambulance, "You're so dramatic. She'll wake up, so just leave her. But even if she doesn't wake up, it's not going to cause any problems to anybody because it's just going to be one less stupid person in this world." I couldn't believe the words coming out of her mouth, and she was saying it like it was normal. I ignored my mother-in-law and I called an ambulance, and my daughter was taken to the hospital. My husband came running from the office to the hospital, and when I explained the situation to him, he was furious and called his mother. But as if nothing had happened, my mother-in-law answered, "Yes, hello, Stephen." I felt the limit to my anger boil over, and I grabbed my phone from my husband and said to her, "We are in front of the mortuary right now." That's what I told her. My mother-in-law said, "Are you kidding? Over such a small accident?" And I could tell that she was starting to panic. Nobody said that my daughter was in there. Luckily, my daughter is fine. When I said that to her, "Oh, please, why are you trying to threaten me?" And she raised her voice at me. If that were to have happened, I was about to make sure that you turned out the same way. When I said that, my mother-in-law fell silent and my husband took the phone. He said,
"What the hell have you done to my daughter? Don't ever come near my family ever again. I'm cutting off all ties with you, and I'm gonna stop sending you money too. I've had enough."
When he said that, my mother-in-law said, "Do you know what's going to happen to you if you stop sending money? You're such an ungrateful son." As she said that, Stephen became even more angry and said,
"Looks like you don't feel even a little bit sorry about what you've done. I've decided I'm going to tell the police about this."
When he said that to her, she realized, "If you were to do that and I were to become a criminal, you know that that's going to affect your promotion at work too. You're only going to be hurting yourself by doing that, so I suggest you don't." And she laughed. "Your future is on the line here, so surely you're not going to say anything to the police, are you?" When she said that, she didn't say a single word of apology throughout the phone call and just hung up the phone on us. Not long after that, luckily our daughter regained consciousness. They said that she had a light concussion, but the doctor told us that she was going to be fine. As we were relieved, the police arrived at the hospital and asked us what happened. And then, without hiding or sugarcoating anything, my husband told them everything, and he informed them that he wanted to file a police report. A few days later, Hannah had fully recovered and had gone back to preschool. Right around that time, Stephen received a phone call from his mother. Apparently she was panicking and said, "Hey, Stephen, the police are here at my house, and they said that there's been a police report filed against me. What the hell is going on here? I'm not going to say anything bad, so just take it back. Don't you realize that your future is on the line here?" When she said that, my husband replied,
Don't worry, I haven't been thinking about a promotion from the beginning anyway. I'm gonna be quitting my job. And it's been decided that I'm going to start my own business. But more importantly, why don't you hurry up and turn yourself in?
He called the rep, replied, but then she raised her voice. "Are you kidding me? You're selling your own parent to the police? What kind of an ungrateful son are you?" She was furious, but Stephen didn't back down.
Isn't that a given? There's no way I'm going to forgive somebody who would hurt my daughter like that. So you better pay for what you've done. And you're not my mother anymore either.
And then he hung up the phone on her. After that, because of the injury that she caused to our daughter, my mother-in-law was arrested for child abuse and assault. My husband then cut off all ties with her, and he completely stopped sending her any money whatsoever. Of course, my mother-in-law was unable to survive like this, and she finally came to us to apologize. However, we had no intention of ever getting involved with his mother ever again, so he didn't accept her apology and blocked her. She no longer had money, and my mother-in-law was stuck, having to live a life in poverty. About 6 months after my husband cut off all ties with her, we heard that she was arrested once again for stealing from the shops. They said that her motive was because she was so hungry that she was no longer able to stand it anymore, and she was repeatedly stealing from the shops. It looks like she's going to have to be sent behind bars. Currently, I heard that she's still awaiting trial and that they don't know when she's going to be released from jail. As for my husband, after that he quit his job soon after and started his own business. Currently, he's the CEO of his own consulting firm. After cutting off all ties with his mother that had been causing him trouble for years and finally making his dreams come true, I felt like my husband seemed even brighter than before. From now on, as a full-time housewife, I want to support this husband of mine, and I can only pray that our family of 3 can live happily forever.
I'm 25 years old. I work at a car dealer, but I'm feeling done lately because I haven't been able to sell much. With the stagnating economy, my job wasn't going very well, but I had to keep working hard. Well, my wife was always there for me to cheer me up at all times.
Welcome home. Great job today.
My wife Kate was pretty, cute, and the best wife I could have. We just got married 2 years ago and we still don't have children, but I have a fun life every day thanks to my wife. But about my wife, I think she's acting weird lately. She quit her job when we got married and she's a housewife now, but she hasn't been doing things around the house for the past month or so. When I got home the other day, the house was a mess and she hadn't even done the laundry. And when I just got home, she also came home running and panting. If she had just been shopping, I don't think she has to be in such a rush. This wasn't the only weird thing about my wife nowadays. She never cared about her phone much, but she now faces her phone screen down and would even bring her phone with her when taking a bath. I've come home to find her mumbling to someone on the phone, and I've seen her hang up in a rush multiple times. I'm not stupid, so seeing her act this way, I was suspicious that she was cheating on me. At first, I felt ashamed for being suspicious of her, but my wife kept on acting weirdly, and she looked like she was on cloud 9, unaware that I was even there with her. So I hired a detective to investigate. And as I thought, she was cheating on me. The detective agency showed me photos of my wife walking with a guy hand in hand and them leaving a hotel together. They had more than enough proof of their affair. Probably because I knew deep down that she was cheating on me. I started feeling very mad towards her, but I was never motivated to get revenge on her somehow. But I couldn't just stay silent and let it go. When I was wondering what to do, things took an unexpected turn. When I got home from work one day, my wife told me that there was something she wanted to tell me. And when I took a seat in the living room, she suddenly got on her knees to apologize. Then she said to me,
I want you to divorce me. I found someone else I love.
That was what she said. I always thought that people would want to hide their affair, deny the truth when questioned, and try to escape to get off the hook. So I was pretty surprised that she told me everything. I didn't have to hire a detective. If I waited a bit longer, she would have told me with her own mouth, and I was pretty shocked about that fact. Well, to be completely honest, after I found out about my wife's affair, I had no feelings left for her. So I would also prefer it if we could get a divorce without having any arguments. But I knew that this wasn't just a simple case from the detective I hired, so I decided to tell her what I knew and observe how she would react. Are you referring to him?
Huh? Why do you have this photo?
I showed her the photos with herself in them that were taken by the detective. She seemed surprised that I knew about her affair, but she was at a loss for words after I told her what I knew. Actually, because you've been acting strange, I had a detective investigate. That's why I knew about your affair, but the agency told me something else as well. As I said, I took out an extra photograph and showed it to her. Her face was in shock. Judging from your face, I bet you didn't know. He's already married. He even has 3 children. Judging from his family photo, it looks like the 5 of them are visiting the park like a close family.
No way. He told me he was single.
From how my wife reacted, I bet she believed that she'll be able to date him once she gets a divorce, or maybe it was him who told her that. So that's why I was skeptical about the audience. She thought she would be able to get remarried to this guy in the photo. In the photo I showed her, I saw photos of the guy smiling happily with his wife and having fun with his kids with a smile on his face. I bet my wife was shocked too, but this is what she started, so I have no feelings of empathy. Well, after this, I'll never get involved with her again. So I coldly took out the divorce papers I already had ready in front of my wife. Obviously, I was done filling in my part. Here, fill in the divorce papers. Of course, I'm demanding something in return for your affair. I'll demand a decent amount of compensation money from both of you, and I'll obviously tell his wife about his affair as well. So I bet she'll also ask for compensation from you. After you've ruined the household, I don't care whether a happy ending is waiting for either of you, so just do your own thing. Then my wife went pale, started acting all different, and began to say that we should cancel our divorce as if nothing had happened, which was hilarious nonsense. When I told her we couldn't go back, she insisted that she was deceived and she never betrayed me. What the hell is she saying? She sounds like she was also the victim. I'm sorry, but as soon as I found out that she was cheating on me, I told her that my feelings for her disappeared.
You're awful. You didn't love me much then.
She got angry in return. My wife had always been like this, but when she starts acting like this, she would be stubborn and wouldn't listen to what I say. I was wondering what to do, but then I came up with an idea. Okay then, let's cancel our divorce, I said to her. Then my wife looked happy for a second, but when I told her that I'll get revenge on the guy instead, she looked afraid of me. It seemed like she really thought I was mad, unaware that I was just pretending. Then she started to cry, begging me to stop, so it was clear that she still had feelings for him. So I suggested to her, Should we just get his sperm then, and take care of the baby together as if the baby was really ours? You must be happy to be able to look after his clone." My wife looked horrified at what I just said to her, and she seemed confused. I ignored her and continued. "I love you, and I assume that your feelings for me would never change too. You're going to love just me, right? Even if you gave birth to a baby with a different baby father, you'll continue to love me, right?" With my great acting, her face quickly went pale. I just watched a movie about a psycho the other day, so I tried to act like him. When I got closer to my wife with a blank expression, never blinking even once, she screamed as she wept.
I'm sorry. I don't think we can get back together. I'll pay you everything. I'll pay you compensation money, so forgive me."
I had a hard time holding in my laughter when I saw her being desperate, but I was starting to enjoy this prank, and I thought I'd pressure her more. "Huh? Why are you saying that? I thought you loved me. I thought you didn't want a divorce, right?"
No, help me.
As she screamed, she signed the divorce papers in a rush and ran out of the room. Now our divorce is settled. For the rest, I'll just have to leave it to the lawyer to get me my compensation money, so I acted quickly. When I sent the guy the certification of content, his wife obviously found out about their affair, and the guy got mad at my wife, saying why she had to tell his wife about it, and he was questioning her with great pressure. I thought they knew the risks of cheating on someone in a relationship, but it looks like the guy liked himself being in a relationship with 2 women at once, and maybe that's why he couldn't think of the consequences. Then the guy started ignoring my wife, and he begged his wife not to divorce him. But there was no way his wife was forgiving him, and he got kicked out of the house and ordered to pay a great amount of compensation money. As I thought, their affair ruined the guy's family as well, but I think his wife is happy that she was able to leave the bastard. My ex-wife was dumped by the guy, but she couldn't come back to me, so she had to move into a small apartment to pay us compensation money, and she's living a busy life working part-time jobs. The guy yelled at her not to come into his life ever again, and she came begging for help, but that's none of my business. She had a good time cheating on me, so now it's time to atone for her sins.
My name is Sandra. I'm 41 years old and I have a decent career. I was late to get married, but 5 years ago I got married to Ryan when I was 36 years old. My husband was 10 years younger than me, but he approached me saying he didn't care about the age gap. We still don't have children, but I thought we were doing great. But things suddenly took an unexpected turn. That day was our 5th anniversary. It was a special occasion, a turning point in our marriage. It would be a lie if I said that I wasn't excited for a surprise. So it's natural to think I'll be getting a gift. But...
Here, these are the divorce papers. I'm divorcing you!
When my face got all stiff, he laughed out loud as he pointed at me.
Did you think I'd give you a gift? Stupid! Who would give a middle-aged lady like you a gift? Let's just get divorced already!
Huh? What do you mean? While I was in shock, my husband quickly continued.
It's not my fault. It's all on you. You aged too much. I thought you aged when you turned 40, but you aged even more in the past year. I can't live with an ugly hag any longer.
Why can you be so mean? First of all, you said that the age gap doesn't matter when you proposed to me. Did you forget our promise to love each other no matter how old we get?
Nah, it's impossible when you look so old and worn out like this. A love of 100 years would even disappear. Have some common sense.
Common sense?
Girls are all about their youth and looks. Men age well, but women don't, you know. Have you heard of this saying, the newer the better for women and floor mats? It's the end for women as soon as they age. That's how the world works.
Why can you be so mean?
Mean? Look at your appearance! I'm embarrassed to walk through town with you. It's like I'm walking with my mom.
Everyone ages. You'll soon turn 42. And I'm working hard to keep my body in good shape. I would go jogging to make myself look healthy and young for my husband. And I was working hard to take care of my skin as well. Thanks to that, people see me younger than my age. My body hasn't changed much from when I was in my 20s. But my husband laughed at my hard work.
Okay, great job for your effort. But what's important is the result, not your hard work. You're aging and you look older compared to when we just met, so your hard work means nothing. Girls are always better younger.
Then my woman's senses clicked. The reason you suddenly told me this. Are you cheating on me?
What can I do? It's male instinct to go to younger women.
Are you serious? We're still married. Cheating is a huge problem. I'll ask for compensation money.
Compensation money? What the hell are you saying?
My husband suddenly changed his attitude. He was attacking me even more.
You better complain after seeing yourself in the mirror. You're at blame for aging so horribly that I had to go to someone else. It's all your fault. If you didn't age, I wouldn't have cheated on you.
He kept on insulting me for 2 hours after that. And that wasn't the end. He kept doing so every day. Every single time we saw each other.
You aged so horribly, but you want compensation money. That's how criminals think.
He would say horrible things like this. I lost my appetite and I would throw up whenever I ate something. Seeing me get weak, both mentally and physically, my husband laughed as if it was hilarious and continued to insult me. When I realized I had already signed the divorce papers, I couldn't ask for compensation money. I was completely brainwashed by my husband. He made me think that it was my fault for aging into an ugly hag. The day I got divorced, my husband left me with one last insult.
A 41-year-old ugly hag like you would probably have to stay single for the rest of your life after I divorce you.
After I went back to my parents' house, I shut myself inside. My husband made me believe that I was too ugly to go out. Of course, I was no longer able to work properly, and I quit my job. I wanted to talk to my friends and parents about it, but there was no way I could tell them that I got a divorce because of my ugly looks. But I tried to overcome this, and I decided to go to counseling at a hospital near my parents' house. The doctor who was assigned to me was my childhood friend from elementary school. Fortunately, I was able to talk without feeling nervous because I've known him from when I was a child. When I told him that my husband divorced me because I aged so bad, he told me,
"You're as beautiful as always."
Since then, we started to meet outside of our counseling hours as well, and I gradually recovered to my usual self. A year and a half later, I coincidentally ran into my ex-husband in the city. My ex-husband who dumped me because I was over 40 was just the same as I remembered.
Hey, you aged even more! How come you're outside? Aren't you embarrassed? You're great! I respect you!
After insulting me as much as he wanted, he saw my ring on my left hand.
Whoa, you have a ring? Ugh.
Huh? Why do you have to be disgusted just because of a ring?
That's the ring I gave you, isn't it? It's been a year and a half already, but I bet you still have feelings for me. Oh, stop it. I can't handle hags.
Huh? I think you're misunderstanding, but this is from my husband. I got remarried to my childhood friend. He's very kind and a great person who works as a doctor. Thanks for divorcing me. Thanks to you, I'm very happy now. I went on several dates with him after meeting him through my counseling sessions, and I just got married recently.
No way! You married a doctor?
Yep, you're right. I am so happy every day. But I have one regret.
Oh, you're worried about my financial situation, right? Oh, it's great I met you here. My girlfriend ran away from me, and I'm struggling financially right now. You're a doctor's wife. You must be rich. How about you give me $1,000 to begin with? We can go out for a meal if you're paying.
No thanks, I glared at him. My only regret is not making you pay compensation money.
Huh? You can't ask for it now. We got divorced more than a year ago.
We have 3 years to ask for compensation after a divorce. You hurt me and insulted me so much before we got divorced, but I know you brainwashed me because you didn't want to pay compensation money.
No way! You were just being valuable, so you felt hurt with whatever you said and overthought about it.
That's what you say, huh? I don't care what you say, though. My husband hired a talented lawyer for me. I have more than enough proof of your affair and moral harassment, so I don't mind taking this case to court.
Well, wait a minute! We once loved each other, remember?
I'm glad we got to meet here today, although it was just a coincidence. I feel refreshed now that I was able to say everything I wanted to say to you. It seemed like you broke up with your girlfriend and you don't have a stable job, but you better pay $30,000 as compensation. I ignored him, who was begging me at this point, and I left. After that, I demanded $30,000 as compensation money from both him and his ex-girlfriend. The girl had to pay $30,000 just because she dated such a trashy guy like him. In my ex-husband's case, he had to work really hard every day to pay me compensation money. He started working overtime, and I heard he looks way older than his age now, but it serves him right.
When I was 21, I used to live in a pretty spacious apartment with my little sister. I was a newbie hostess, and I had no money, so I went to my night job by walking and using the train. Everything happened when someone pushed me off the platform. I was shocked because everything happened all of a sudden, but fortunately, it wasn't time for the train to arrive, so I was safe. The station staff quickly realized and they pulled me up the platform. There weren't many people and I was able to see the culprit at the spot, so I yelled from under the platform, "That person pushed me off the platform! Please, catch her!" I pointed at the person. Then the middle-aged lady made a run for it, but the people around her caught her and they took her to me. "I never meant to! What are you saying when you don't even have proof? You're overthinking. It's because you're wearing high heels." She started making a fuss. This annoying woman kept on saying I had no proof, and it was true that I had nothing. There were no surveillance cameras around the area, so in the end, she was just warned by the staff, and that was it. I never thought I'd meet her ever again back then. Half a month later, in the middle of the night, the same woman broke my window to come in with her shoes on. My sister was there with me. "Which is it? Is it this youngster or this ugly girl? I know you're here. Come and show yourself." She made a scene. I was scared, so I called the police, and I also told them that she pushed me the other day, and I wanted them to take her away. But the woman went home after talking to the female police officer in a different room. "Why did you let her go?"
She thought her husband was here. Don't call the police on civil affairs.
"That's none of my business. I'm filing a victim's report." I argued back, but she didn't take me seriously. She gave a small laugh and left. I had to pay to get my windows fixed, and we lived a peaceful life for half a year. But then, suddenly, when I got home from shopping and opened the door to my house, my little sister slammed a thick brown envelope into my face. On the envelope in her hand, I saw the words "District Court" written in large, bold letters. "Are you being sued?" she said, looking scary. My sister and I were twins, so we were equal. My sister's eyes were questioning me about what I had done. I did work a night job, but I've never done anything that would make people want to sue me, but the envelope was addressed to me. When I opened it, the person being sued was me, but the plaintiff was a name I'd never seen before, the middle-aged woman. To sum it up, she wanted me to pay her compensation money. When I checked in detail, my eyes were about to pop out from surprise. It said that I was having an affair with her husband and forcing him to use money at my bar, and he put his hands on education insurance of his child. She was even suing me for making her pay for abortion fees twice and borrowed money from her. She was trying to make me pay over $10 million because of things I've never remembered doing. The information was very detailed, so my sister asked me how I didn't remember all these things. But I tried to explain myself, saying that I really had no idea. But she had correctly located where I worked, so I was the one getting confused now. She was telling me to turn myself into the police, so I wrote a statement saying that I have never done all of this, and I went to court on the day of the trial. I went to the trial twice, and I also submitted my written statement. The trial ended in parallels according to the two statements each of us turned in. When our third trial was coming up, the court suddenly contacted me, saying that they had withdrawn from suing me. Nothing made sense to me, but I was relieved that I was no longer being sued. I didn't even have a lawyer, so I decided to forget it, thinking, well, that was a hard experience. But one day, my neighbor next door suddenly visited me. She wore revealing clothes, but she was a beauty with black hair. I'm moving out. Please accept this," she said to me, so I opened the thing she gave me right there, although that might have been rude. I found $3,000 inside, and I was surprised. Huh? What is this? I can't receive this. I tried to give it back to her, but she pushed it back to me, and we argued for a while. When I kept my stance firm that I will not take it, my neighbor panicked and explained what was going on, which now made sense. According to what she said, it was her who was having an affair. Both of us worked night jobs, so it was around the same time when she met the woman's husband at home, and when the lights in my room lit up and his wife saw that when she was spying on him from the other side. At first, she didn't know what to do and was panicking, but she heard that I was being sued despite doing nothing wrong, so she thought she had to do something. By the way, the guy knew that I was the wrong person, but he pretended like he didn't know. Actually, he was visiting her around the time when I got home on purpose, so he's really a bastard. She found out that he was married after dating him for 3 weeks, and she wanted to break up with him, but he refused. It was true that my neighbor was beautiful and sexy, so it was understandable that he didn't want to let her go. But she got tired of him enthusiastically talking about his wife's misunderstandings, so she made a decision to run away to a faraway place. The reason I was no longer being sued was because she told his wife about the truth through her lawyer and told her that she'll never get involved with her husband again and that she'll pay $3.5 million as compensation all at once. She also said she'll visit her to apologize on her knees, and the wife accepted that condition. She had finished paying her already, and she was planning to visit her after she moved out, but it looked like the wife's anger had shifted to her husband, and it was as if she didn't care about my neighbor much at this point. It's definitely bad to have an affair with someone married, and I had to encounter many problems too, so I couldn't send her off with a smile, but I'm glad she took action after she realized the problem. So I took the money and said goodbye. Well, I saw the husband trying to visit my neighbor next door again, and I heard him call her, so I went out. The woman living next door moved out. When I told him that, he was shocked and asked me why. Thinking back, the neighbor came to apologize and even gave me money as an apology, but realizing that this man had never even bothered to apologize made me frustrated. She came to apologize to me. She said she was sorry that everyone misunderstood me as your partner, unlike you. When I said that, he made a shocked expression and scurried back home. I heard a rumor that they ended up getting a divorce. Actually, he got arrested. After he found out that my neighbor moved out, he insulted his wife, saying that it was her fault for making things seem like a big problem. And he got violent with her, and the neighbors called the police on him. Even that scary middle-aged woman couldn't fight back against his manly, strong powers, and I heard she had to be hospitalized after getting injured badly. Now the parents had to get involved as well, and after they found out that he was a bastard for cheating on her and hurting their daughter, they got very mad, and they had to get a divorce instantly. She made him pay for compensation money, and at the same time, she visited us to apologize, saying she caused trouble and even got us an envelope of money as an apology. His company found out about this incident. The rumor of him having an affair with a hostess, blaming someone completely unrelated, and hurting his wife spread across his office, and he quit his job. He was really a trashy guy. I never thought all these coincidences happened at the same time and that I'd be involved in this cheating scandal, but I'm glad everything was solved in the end. This wasn't necessarily the reason, but after this, I quit my night job and I started working day jobs at the local bar. I won't make a guy support me financially like my neighbor, but I just didn't want to go through the same thing again. If I worked a normal day job, I wouldn't have been misunderstood like that. Well, I hope I never see a bastard like him again. I live as a family of 4, but my parents have no interest in me and they only love my little sister. Since I was small, everything was my sister's. They never gave me what I needed, so when I got into high school, I had to work a part-time job to buy the things I needed on my own. But as soon as my parents got to know that I was making money, they told me every payday, "We're struggling to make ends meet because of you, so it's natural for you to give us your paycheck." And they stole the money from me. But the reason why we were financially struggling was because my parents and sister spent extravagantly. My sister, who was a year younger than me, bought clothes and went out for dinner with her friends using the money my mom stole from me. My parents both went gambling, and all the money I made through my part-time job was gone. So I got an idea to work 2 part-time jobs and paid them the money I made through one job as camouflage and saved up the money I made through the other job. My parents didn't bother to calculate my shifts and paychecks, so they didn't realize as long as I gave them my paycheck for one of my jobs. So I saved up money while in school and planned to go to university. But one day, my mom said to me as she grinned, "I didn't know you hid your money here." That was what she said. In her hand, she held the passbook and certification stamp I had been hiding from her. Instead, there was $1 million I had saved up. My mom wanted more than just the money I had been giving her, and went inside my room without my permission to see if I had more. Then she found the passbook I had been hiding at the bottom of my shelf. "Give it back! It's for my university tuition!" "I took care of you all these years. It's natural that you give me all this money to return the favor. I'm taking this with me." Like that, she took away the money from me. I was so sad, but there was no way I could go to university without any money. Since then, it was as if there was a hole in my heart. In the end, I wasn't able to go to university, and I had to get a full-time job. I wanted to live on my own, but my parents took away all the money from me. Now that I was working full-time after graduating from high school, my parents and sister were overjoyed that I will be bringing home more money. They take all my money, but they don't even give me a decent meal. My life went on like that, and I turned 20, but they didn't even bother to hold a coming-of-age ceremony for me. But they already bought my sister a popular dress a year before her ceremony, being all happy and excited about it. Seeing them like that made me question about why I was even alive. One day, when I was waiting for the light to turn green, I had no energy because I was so hungry, and I wobbled towards the road. Then a man grabbed my body and helped me steady myself. His hair was a mess, and I couldn't even see his face with his long bangs. His clothes were also worn out.
"Are you okay?"
I'm sorry. The man was worried about me and took me to a park to rest. He asked if I was okay because it looked as if I threw myself onto the road on purpose. So I told him that I was just hungry, and he brought me some tea and a packed meal from the convenience store. As I ate my meal, he listened to my whole story. Because we were strangers, I blurted out everything I felt in my heart. Since then, we started to have conversations at the park when we saw each other sometimes. He dressed in worn-out clothes, as always, and I couldn't see his face with his hair, but I felt comfortable around him and liked to spend time with him. One day, my parents told me to come to a restaurant, which rarely happened. I had no idea why, but I haven't been fed a decent meal for the past few days, so I went inside the restaurant thinking I might be able to eat something. Then there was a man inside. Huh? This man? The man was the guy I always talked to at the park. My mom suddenly said, "You're getting married to him." That was what she said. It looks like my parents were in a lot of debt and they wanted to sell me to a rich guy, so they were looking for my potential partner. I felt shivers hearing about their plan. But he somehow heard about that and he suggested that I marry him in return for paying their debts worth $3 million, and my parents happily agreed. My sister was laughing as she stared at the guy. "I feel sorry for sis who has to marry this dirty and ugly guy, huh? But that's your fate." She laughed at me. It looks like my parents had already received the money from him and they quickly left the room. They laughed, saying he could do anything to me now. After everyone left us, he told me that he just wanted to stop me from getting married to someone I didn't know, and that we didn't have to get married. He even tried to give me money, saying that I was finally free and could run away to anywhere I wanted. But I said to him, "I'm getting married to you." Then he looked surprised. He saved my life once, and the time I spent talking to him was my precious moment in life. So I want to spend more time with you. Then he looked embarrassed, but accepted me as his wife. I went back home to pack my stuff before I moved in with him, and my parents were overjoyed that they no longer were in debt. They were about to go shopping again. My sister was completely looking down on me, saying my life was over alongside my mom, but now that I finally was able to escape from this house, nothing hurt me. Then I went to his house, but I couldn't believe the house was his. It was those condos that costed billions with auto-lock systems, and I've never seen somewhere like this. Then I found out that he was very rich through stocks and exchange. What surprised me more was how he looked when he greeted me. He wasn't wearing the worn-out clothes, but instead wore nice, fancy clothes. And he had also cut his hair that hid his eyes, and he was the most handsome guy I've ever seen, standing right in front of me. I couldn't help but ask, "Who are you?" Then he replied that it was him as he chuckled. It seems like he would shut himself in during transactions and wear random clothes. He told me that he fell in love with me who interacted with him despite the way he looked. Since then, my life took a dramatic turn from how I used to live. One day we went to the movies, went shopping, and he bought me some clothes. When we were about to go to the restaurant, we ran into my parents and sister. The three of them looked surprised to see me, but they got even more shocked when they saw the handsome guy next to me and asked who he was. Then he said he was my husband, and my sister was shocked about it. She glared at me as if she lost. Back then, she had no interest in him at all, but she started asking what his job was, where he lived, and all kinds of questions, but he answered to all of them nicely, one by one. Then my parents and sister realized how rich he was for the first time. We went separate ways after that, but a few days later, they contacted me asking for my address. And they even asked him to send them $10 million because they were my parents, and I was having enough of this. My sister even said, "I'll marry him instead. You don't deserve him. Tell me your address. I'm your sister, so I should be able to visit you." That was what she said. Then my husband quickly took the phone from me and told her our address as if it was nothing. He smiled at me, who looked worried hearing him tell her that. A week later, my mom contacted me asking to let them in because they were in front of our mansion. But I said to my mom, "I can't. I'm abroad." Then it seemed like she was screaming out of frustration on the other side of the phone. I heard my sister too, and she was complaining about what was happening. That day, my husband told them our address, but on the same day, he called the service to pack our things and got rid of our belongings and suggested we move abroad. He told me that he could work anywhere as long as he had his computer. Then I finally realized the reason why he told me to get a passport right after we got married. I bet he knew that this was going to happen. After that, this is about my parents who failed to go inside our mansion. But it turns out they used their card extravagantly, believing they'll be able to live a rich lifestyle now that I married him. My sister also seemed to be bragging to everyone around her that she'll marry a handsome rich guy, but after we left, all of their plans went to waste. Now that they couldn't count on my salary, my family was drowning in debt once again, and it was impossible to make ends meet. My sister was humiliated by the people around her, and she shut herself in because she was too embarrassed. I was able to get happy in life after I married him, but now I think they'll be punished for what they've been doing to me all these years. My name is Melissa Smith. I live together with my husband, Richard Smith. Ever since I was a little girl, I had always dreamed about becoming a chef. After years of studying and apprenticeships, I was finally able to open the Italian restaurant of my dreams. I didn't grow up in a wealthy family at all. In fact, it was quite the opposite. Ever since I was a student, I worked really hard at multiple part-time jobs, and little by little, I was able to save money. With that hard-earned money, I went to Italy and I did an apprenticeship there. That's why I was able to open an authentic Italian restaurant of my dreams. Then one day, I received an invitation to my high school reunion. The last time we had a high school reunion, it was about 2 years after we had all graduated from high school. That meant that it was 10 years since we had all gotten together. My husband said to me,
You haven't seen them in so long. You should go ahead.
He kindly gave me the okay, so I decided to attend. However, there was just one thing that was bothering me about the high school reunion, and that was the presence of my high school classmate, Sarah. Sarah was the daughter of a CEO, and she was raised in a very wealthy family. Because of that, back in high school, she used to make fun of me all the time and would call me a peasant. During the lunch breaks, I would be sitting at my desk eating the lunchbox that my mom made for me. Sarah would come over next to me and say out loud for everybody to hear, "Yuck, everything in there is brown. It looks like food for the family pet." She would say things like that and often make me the brunt of her jokes. Every single time she would do that, it would really upset me, but I couldn't find it in myself to say anything back to her. That's because anytime Sarah was upset about anything at all, she would go straight to her dad about it, and then her dad would barge into the school and talk to the teachers and the principal. Everybody was tired of dealing with them, but because he was a CEO, he had power. And if I say something back to Sarah and her dad comes to the school again, it would cause trouble to my parents as well. I really wanted to avoid bothering my parents, so all I could do was bottle in the anger and tolerate it. I really didn't want to see Sarah, but I did want to see all my other friends. And I was looking forward to the high school reunion. And plus, now that we had all become adults, I'm sure that Sarah had also matured, and surely that spoiled, bratty personality of hers has changed. And then, on the day of the high school reunion, when I arrived at the venue, there were so many nostalgic faces lined up, and it was really nice to see everybody. As I was catching up with my good friends and having a great time, that was when Sarah arrived and walked over to us. At that moment, I could tell that everybody changed the expression on their faces, probably because back in high school, nobody liked her, and everybody felt the same way that I did. But as for her, she didn't seem to take notice that the entire atmosphere of the room had to change, and immediately yelled out to everybody, "Long time no see, y'all!" in a really excited voice. I was hopeful that her personality had changed for the better, at least a little bit, but immediately after being reunited with her, I was going to find out the hard way that she hadn't changed at all. As soon as she arrived, she started asking everybody what they were up to these days, and then as soon as she saw me, Sarah said, "Oh my gosh, look, if it isn't the peasant! I just noticed now that you're also here. So what are you doing for work? Are you poor as usual? I bet you're not married yet, are you?" She said. I didn't even want to have a conversation with her, but I felt like I should at least answer her questions. When I told her that I got married 5 years ago and then I recently opened my Italian restaurant, Sarah immediately changed her face and looked irritated. "Huh? Well, whatever. I'm sure the person that you married is also a peasant anyway, right? And you say you have your own Italian restaurant, but it's probably just a pathetic restaurant, isn't it?" Sarah was so nonchalant, saying such rude things that one of my friends jumped in and retaliated to defend me. "No, you're wrong. Melissa's husband is an employee at a major company, and the restaurant is a super authentic and fancy restaurant. It's amazing." As she said that, my friend smiled proudly, but Sarah's response was quick. "As if that would ever be the case. Stop lying. There's no way she would have that." And she refused to believe it. But then, when my friend pulled up my restaurant website and showed it to Sarah, she looked shocked as she zoomed in closer, and then she said, "Wow, not bad for a peasant. Well, you know what? I'm actually going to have my engagement party next week, so I'll do you a favor and I'll rent out the entire restaurant." Of course, this was Sarah, and I had no desire to get on board with this, but because I shouldn't be discriminating against customers, I reluctantly ended up accepting her reservation. 30 people from 6 p.m., please, and I want the most expensive tasting menu you have." That's what she said to me, so I had her fill out the reservation request on the spot. From there, in front of everybody, Sarah continued to brag about herself and only talk about herself. Guess what? My fiancé is the manager of a super popular hair salon. It's like going viral right now. It's like super rich. So when we get married, I'm planning to become a full-time housewife. I'm so glad that I waited until this age to not get married and wait for a partner that was actually worthy of me.
When she finished talking about her recent life, everybody did a fake laugh and went back to their own conversations. For the after party, I was able to enjoy it with just friends that I was close to, and I was having the best time seeing them for the first time in a while. When I got home that day and I told my husband that we got a reservation for 30 people in a private buyout of the restaurant.
Wow, that's amazing, Melissa. Well done.
And he was really happy for me. So I placed an order for all the necessary ingredients for the tasting menu, and I was fully prepared as I approached the day of the reservation. Because it was a party of 30 people sitting down at once, we were super busy that day from early in the morning. We had all hands on deck with the staff preparing, and thanks to that, we were able to complete all of the preparations sooner than planned. When it became 6 p.m., we were waiting for Sarah and her guests to arrive who had reserved the entire restaurant, but there wasn't a shadow of a person. Even though 30 minutes passed by, nobody was showing up, so I thought it was strange. Right at that time, my husband had arrived at the restaurant. He walked in and looked shocked that nobody had arrived yet, and when I explained the situation to him, he told me that I should call her immediately. When I looked at the reservation sheet and I called the phone number on it, "This phone number is not in service." That was the automated message I got. I had a really bad feeling about it, so I contacted my friend and asked them for Sarah's phone number. Then I finally got through. When I asked her when she was planning on coming to the restaurant, Sarah responded, "Oh, we already started the party at a different restaurant, as if I was going to step foot in a peasant's restaurant. What a joke!" And she laughed. "Are you kidding me? We've already prepared a whole tasting menu for 30 people." When I raised my voice like that, my husband overheard and sounded worried.
What's the matter? They're not coming?
He asked me. When I told my husband what had just happened, he told me to turn the phone on speakerphone. I did as he said, and Sarah's voice echoed throughout the empty restaurant. "And first of all, for a peasant like you to open up such a fancy Italian restaurant is ridiculous. Anyway, now that the tasting menu for 30 people has been canceled, you should just lose money and go bankrupt." She said that, but just as she was about to hang up, my husband chimed in.
"We're going to report you to the police for fraudulent business obstruction."
When he said that, "Police? Why?" Suddenly Sarah started to panic.
Don't you realize that what you've done is a crystal clear case of crime? If you don't show up immediately, I really am going to call the police. We even have your reservation sheet here.
When my husband said that to her, Sarah panicked even more. "Wait, but all I did was cancel the reservation, that's all. What's the big deal?" She tried to make up excuses, but my husband was having none of it.
Did you really think that that's going to pass? You need to show up immediately, otherwise the police will be called.
And he hung up on her. 30 minutes later, looking completely panicked, Sarah and her fiancé showed up at the restaurant, and then as soon as her fiancé saw my husband's face, his eyes opened wide in shock.
"Mr. Richard, is that you?"
My husband was also shocked.
"Your fiancé? Is this?"
As it turns out, Sarah's fiancé was the manager of a hair salon that was owned by the company where my husband was working. They had multiple locations around the country. My husband was an employee at the headquarters, while Sarah's fiancé was a manager of one location, and he knew that he was very much beneath Richard. When my husband explained everything that Sarah did on this day to her fiancé, he was mortified. He apologized over and over again to me and to my husband, and then I showed them the reservation sheet that Sarah had filled out, and I started reading out loud the contract that Sarah had signed. In the event that there is no previous notice and the reservation is canceled, the full amount for the reservation will be collected by the restaurant. And I have your signature here, so we will be having you pay for this entire meal. As I read it to her, Sarah started to panic even more. "You're joking, right? There's no way I can pay for 30 tasting menus at this restaurant." She was in tears, but her fiancé was having none of it.
"Shut up! No matter what you say, you're going to pay this!"
And he was furious. In the end, whatever Sarah wasn't able to pay up front, her fiancé fronted for her, and I was able to receive the full cost of the reservation for 30 tasting menus. After that, the fiancé realized that Sarah might have a bad effect on his work,
and he said that he was going to take back the engagement ring and that the wedding was called off. I heard that they broke up right after that. He had Sarah pay back all of the money that he had helped for the initial payment. And then they fully went their separate ways. Sarah had been bragging to everybody around her that she was going to get married to a wealthy and fancy hairstylist, and not only did she lose that, she had already quit her job to become a full-time housewife, so she also lost her job and the happiness she was expecting. The fiancé also exposed to Sarah's parents the reason why their engagement was called off. The parents were furious, and apparently Sarah received a stern lecturing from them. She sent me multiple messages to apologize, and my response was, "You already paid all of the money, so I can forgive you for that incident, but don't ever show your face at my restaurant ever again." And then I blocked her, according to the rumors that I heard. Because Sarah's engagement was called off, her parents forced her into an arranged marriage. She ended up having to marry a man 20 years older than her that she didn't like at all. On the other hand, as for me, my restaurant took off, and both my personal life and professional life were smooth sailing. Next time we have a high school reunion, I can't wait to show Sarah just how happy I am. I lived with my parents, my big brother, and my little brother. My mother was bright and loved by everyone, so I was proud to have her as my mother, but she suddenly broke because of what my big brother said. Actually, my mother had a tragic past that we didn't know about. It turns out that my father married her, accepting everything she's been through, and he had told us that she had no relatives. But it was just that she had cut relations with her family. My brother, who caused my mom to go crazy, was always a good kid. He was the most hard-working out of us, and he was very kind to me and my little brother as well, so I looked up to him. My mother worked as a Japanese language teacher part-time, but she was also a housewife at the same time, and she never slacked off with housework despite having a part-time job. She would always come to our school events, our house was always clean, and most importantly, she was a great cook. She had a great relationship with my father as well, so in terms of finances and household problems, we siblings never struggled. My brother went to study abroad and went to grad school, and he started living alone after getting a job, but that was when he started to go crazy. When he came home sometimes, he started insulting my mother for some reason, although he had never done such a thing in the past, and it was hard to believe he was acting that way considering how he used to behave.
Mom, you're a housewife, right? You obviously have to be perfect with housework.
He said something like that, but she was not exactly a housewife. She didn't make a lot of money, but she had a part-time job. But from the perspective of my brother, it apparently looked like she was slacking off at home. But from the perspective of me and my little brother, we never thought she was slacking off, and we actually wanted her to rest more because she was so busy that she barely had enough time to sit down. So I sided with my mother, although I got into fights with him. And soon I started to think that I preferred him not to come home. One day, when we gathered as a family on our parents' wedding anniversary, I honestly didn't want my brother to come, but we decided to gather as a family to celebrate, so I couldn't ignore him, and when I invited him, he came over. I really hoped that he wouldn't ruin this occasion because it was an anniversary, but my hopes were in vain, and he suddenly started insulting my mother again as always.
Mom, aren't you embarrassed for living off Dad like a parasite? It looks like you grew up not knowing any hardships. I guess you didn't learn to feel the emotion of embarrassment.
Then her smile suddenly faded. With a cold stare I've never seen her show, she grabbed my brother by his collar. "What do you know about me? Do you have any idea about how much I've suffered? How much I was tempted to die, devastated to continue living? There's no way you'd understand. Absolutely no way!" Before we could stop her, she suddenly burst out laughing. Looking at her in a way we couldn't imagine from her usual respectful way of speaking, we were shocked. My brother was weeping, probably out of fear. "If what I've gone through weren't hardships, what does hardship mean? So confusing, I have no idea." She said as if she had gone insane, and her eyes were definitely showing that she had lost her mind. At the end, the party was canceled, and we forcefully separated my brother from my mother and made him go home. The next day, my father and I decided to take her to the therapist. And while we waited, I heard from him about my mother's past for the first time. When my mother was born, her mother had already passed away, and her father didn't take care of her at all, drowning himself in alcohol and gambling. Her grandparents meddled with her life so much, and they treated her asthma as a normal cold, and there was a time she almost died. The four of them lived together in a tiny room, and she made money herself to go to high school. She spent most of her time in the library studying as much as she could. But her father used up all the inheritance from her mother she was planning to use on her university tuition, and she had no other choice but to go to university with a newspaper scholarship. After her graduation, because her father was in debt and never looked after his ill parents, she had to work night jobs alongside her full-time jobs, and she was forced to earn more than $10 million. During those years, she met my father, fell in love, and got married. My father was the one who accepted all her tragedies and hardships, but my brother ruined all that. I simply couldn't forgive my brother for what he did. Thinking back, the reason why he was dumped by his girlfriend he had been dating for a long time was because he said something similar to her like he did to my mother. How come I was ignorant about this all this time? I understood nothing about her. Although the trigger was my brother, I was full of regrets. After she got a checkup at the hospital, it was decided that my father would stay with her for a while to take care of her. She was far from recovering fully, but just when her mental state was stabilizing, my little brother, who was looking for my brother, told me that he found him at his senior's house. When I contacted my brother, saying that I knew where he was, and if he didn't come visit us, we'd go find him directly, he answered that he'll meet us only if his senior from work was with him. So we decided to have a talk in a private room at a restaurant with the four of us. I had no idea why we had to include his senior in family matters because he was basically a stranger, so I was irritated. But I wanted to talk to my brother no matter what, so I had to ignore that. The senior my brother was accompanied by is apparently good at his work and takes good care of his juniors. I guess they got along well, but it seemed like my brother worshipped him. It turns out that he was from a prestigious family with a long history, copying his father. He had been treating his sister, even his own mother, like a slave. He had grown up with that kind of ideology, and my brother, who was his junior, had also started to think like him. From my perspective, he only looked like a trashy person, so I was irritated, unable to understand why my brother worshipped him so much. I found out during our discussion that the reason why my brother was behaving that way towards my mother was because he just copied how his senior thought, and that made me even more irritated. After talking with them for some while, when my little brother left for the bathroom, the senior started flirting with me. Just when I realized that he was getting really close to me, he suddenly pinned me onto the ground. He was on top of me.
"You can be my girlfriend,"
he said to me. When my brother showed him a photo of me, apparently he grew fond of me, but he was disgusting, so I fought back, but he obviously got mad with me.
"You're a girl, but you dare to reject me? Just shut up and let me do it!"
he said as he tried to take my clothes off. So when I desperately fought back, he punched me hard enough to bruise my face. My brother was just watching all of this happening, and I was crying out in fear. But my little brother quickly came back and pulled the senior off me and rescued me. My little brother yelled at his older brother if he was insane, but he quickly took me out of the restaurant. After that, my father got really mad, and he forced my brother to go to train at his relative's temple under surveillance. He had decided not to give any inheritance to my brother, and I was shocked to know the amount. I don't know the details, but he apparently had $50 million saved up. It was true that we never struggled financially, but we weren't part of the high society nor owned any real estate. I was shocked to know that people could save this much despite being just a salaryman. But all of our money was under my mother's control, so I bet it was her hard work. I bet she had been saving up little by little after giving birth to us siblings. My mother also had a separate set of savings to support themselves once they grew old. Knowing that she really tried hard to save up so that we siblings could inherit them, I really could not forgive what my brother did to her. For a while, I stayed with my mother to take care of her, but after 3 months, she was finally back to being mentally stable. But in return, we no longer brought up my brother's name nor about her past. My father, my little brother, and I are trying our best to forget about my older brother. It turns out that the senior was guilty of several crimes in the past before he sexually assaulted me, so he was put into jail, guilty for damage and loss. As a result, his parents broke relations with him and he also got fired from his company. Serves him right. Maybe my brother would realize his mistakes while training in the temple, but things would be too late by then, I think.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.